All right, everybody, this is Miss Pie. I'm going to go through this lesson very quickly. Rewind it and pause it if you need to. This is what we went over Friday. And what we covered, excuse me, is there was several different types of formulas that we've gone over so far, parametric and rectangular form. We're covering general form today, and then how to move back and forth. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is know if you have the general equation where you have these terms, then you can quickly identify what type of conic you have. If your A value here equals your C value, then you have a circle. If they do not equal, but they are both either both positive or both negative, then you're going to have an ellipse. If they have different signs, so one of them could be like a -2 and one's a +2, where this number is the same but the signs are different, it's going to be a hyperbola. You can also have one where the numbers and the signs are different. It'll still be a hyperbola. So if it was like a -3 and a positive, if it was like a -3 here and a +6 here, okay? In that case, you would have a hyperbola as well. Now, if A equals 0 or if C equals 0, then you have a parabola. Okay, so in class, we worked through the worksheet and just we did all this in class, and we identified our A values, C, D, E, and F values for each of the equations. And then based on the A and C formula, we figured out what type of conic it was. So these two numbers are the important numbers. We don't care about D, E, or F. They don't tell us anything about the shape of the conic. Okay, so these two numbers, the A value and the C value, determine what conic type you have. All right, so then we wanted to switch from the standard form of the conic type to the general form. And the biggest difference is you don't have anything that needs to be distributed in the general form. So here where you have the y minus 5 squared, you would have to distribute that. You'd have to distribute the 2. So you're going to FOIL or box. And in this case, we set up a box, and I'm going to just show you all the answers really quickly. You have y squared minus 5 and all this. But you also have to deal with this too. Hold on. Let me undo this and this first. Okay, so you can set it up like this, and then you would have some equation down here, but then you would have to also divide by 2. Well, a shortcut, you can get rid of that extra step by, instead of having y minus 5 in both cases, go ahead and distribute the 2 through one of your factors up here. So the y minus 5 became 2y minus 10. And then you can cut out an extra step. Okay, that's super easy to do, and it eliminates the extra step down here. So this is the equation that we have, but notice that your terms are not in the correct order, and you also need to combine that. So the final solution is this. You have y squared, x, y, and then your constant term. So in the worksheet, I told everybody make sure you answer what type of conic it is. In this case, we had a parabola, and then the general formula. Okay, for 6, same kind of thing. We had to, we have two things that we needed to box. Okay, and then when we did all that, we combined all like terms. Let me just highlight all this and delete everything. So we get all this here in our box, write everything down here, get all this here in the box, write everything down here. And then notice this 16 over here became a -16 here. And then we still need to combine like terms. This -16, the 64, and the 9, those all need to be combined. And then we need to put everything in the correct order. So the correct order would be the x squared first, then the y squared, then the x term, then the y term, and then your constant term. Okay, and so that's your final answer there. And this shape would be a circle because your A value here and your A value here is the same. Number 7, same kind of thing, but you need to get rid of this denominators first, and then you can go ahead and FOIL or box these. So I got you set up for this one on number 7. You can finish out the rest on your own. And then the next part that we did is we needed to convert from the general form into the rectangular form. And that process is much more difficult. There's several steps. Please follow all the steps. And I do want you, after you identify the type of conic, I want you to figure out what the formula, the standard formula for the conic is. In that case, our ellipse here would be in this format, and notice at the very bottom that's the format we have. For the ellipse, we want a 1 here. Okay? So the first step, identify the conic, then group your x terms together and your y terms together. That's what they did here. And then you factor out your coefficients, what they did here. The next step is a little bit difficult. It's completing the square. There's several parts to it. The first thing you want to do, take your -4 here, divide it by 2 and square it. You get a 4. Take the 10 here, divide it by 2, square it, and get a 25. And then you're going to add those to both sides of the equation. So you're going to add 4 here to your x terms. You're going to add a 25 here to the y terms. And notice over here you multiplied by the 4 by 16 and the 25 by 9 because of your coefficients that you factored out earlier. All right, and then you combine all of this and you get 144. And then you have, you complete the square, or factor your perfect squares. Notice your -2 here. Up here, if you took -4 and divided it by 2, you got -2. And that's where this came from. And then here, if you have 10 divided by 2, you get 5. That's where that came from. And then notice this 144 just kind of disappears and you're left with a 1. Make sure you read these steps. It says divide if necessary. So because our standard form for the ellipse has a 1 here, you want to divide by 144 to get rid of this, to change this 144 to a 1. And so that's what you need to do. You need to divide everything by 144. Well, 16 divided by 144 is 1/9, and 9 divided by 144 is 1/16. Okay, so that's what the process that we did. In class, we worked through 2 problems, and these are also in your notes. And in this case, our A, and we first identified what type of conic it is by checking out our A value and our C value. A is 1, C is 0 because you don't have a y-squared term. So we know that we have a parabola, sorry. And then we need to separate the x terms and the y terms. And then our coefficient, or sorry, our constant term here moves to the other side. And that's what we get. Then we're going to do the dividing by taking the middle coefficient, divide by 2, and squaring it. In this case, our x term is the only one that has the coefficient that we need to divide by 2. We got 16 there. And then we create our square term, add it to both sides. And so that's how we get that. And then when you get your perfect square, you're going to have the -2 from, or -4 from this is right here, squared equals y minus 1. Notice we moved the y over because for the parabola, that's the correct shape. That's the shape that we want to have. Because we have a parabola, our rectangular form has y minus k equals a times x minus h squared. So this is the correct format. Okay. Problem number 12. Some of these, some classes we went through, some of them we did not. With this one, we have a hyperbola because our a is 4 and our c is -1, different signs, so we have a hyperbola. And at first, we don't know which one of these terms is negative, so we're going to leave it without labeling whether you're adding or subtracting, or this is negative and this is positive. We're going to leave it like that, but we know that this is the format that we should have. So second step, separate your x's and your y's, take out your coefficients. Okay, oops, I forgot my negative here. There should be a negative sign right in there. Factor out your coefficients and then take your middle terms, divide them by 2 and square them. Add those to both sides of the equation. Notice we have a 4 times 25 here and a -1 times 49 there. Factor your squares, or get the perfect square. Then you need to divide everything by 36 because I want to have a 1 here. And then so your final answer for number 12 is that. Okay, in class we went through the other problems. You need to know how to do this completely. There's going to be lots of test questions on it, and you need to know how to do it. Okay, hopefully this video was helpful. I will talk to you in class. Bye.